The movie begins as the security guard tries to escape his office, and something's trying to break in. He's able to get the vent off, and he starts to climb through the vent to escape. The night guard quickly escapes the vents, and unaware to him, there's a Lumen Foxy coming to get him. As the night guard tries to get away, he is attacked and strapped down as a Freddy head with sharp blades comes closer to his face. The night guard tries to escape as the Freddy mask comes closer to his face, but it is no use as the security guard is killed by the mask. We then meet Mike Smith and his little sister Abby. Mike is getting her ready because he has to go to work. Mike works at a mall, and we see him talking to his friend about dream theory before. We then cut as Mike is getting ice cream for his little sister as he sees what appears to be a kidnapping, and Mike starts to chase down the man with the kid, and he tackles him into the fountain before he starts to beat him up over and over and over again. We then cut to Mike as he is at a job counselor named Steve Raglan, and he's looking over Mike's case. Steve Raglan has one job Mike can take, but because of the hours, Mike goes to leave, and Steve gives him a card just in case. Mike returns home, checks on his sister, makes sure she's okay, before he passes out and dreams about the day that his little brother was taken away by a mysterious man in a car. Mike tries to chase down the car, but it's no use. Before he wakes up and he goes to discuss about who should take custody of Abby, and it's between him and Aunt Jane. He needs to get a stable job, so he ends up calling Steve Raglan to take the night shift, and Mike arrives to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. He enters and looks around the building before he finds the office and these training tapes for the security guard. And Mike ends up passing out and once again dreaming about his little brother being taken, but this time there's more kids there. And Mike chases after one of them before tripping and waking up. And we are introduced to Abby's babysitter, Max, before we see that she's actually working for Aunt Jane. And they hatch a plan. And then we cut to that night as Mike is once again at the job, asleep, still dreaming of his brother, and he tries to chase them again, but this time he gets attacked before waking up and getting a knock at the door from a cop named Vanessa. And she notices that Mike is cut, so she goes to patch him up. She tells him about the history and how it started in the 80s and implies that he won't keep a job for very long. And we get introduced to the gang: Foxy, Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie. Vanessa presses a button and they perform on stage. The next morning, Mike is locking up the pizza place when Vanessa and him say goodbye before he leaves. Unknowingly, someone was watching them and found a way in, and they break inside through side entrance before they start smashing up the place. And they all get killed by the animatronics. Max, who's waiting outside, is wondering what's taking them so long, and she goes inside to try to find them, but ends up finding a child and is killed by Freddy. The next day, Vanessa shows up and talks to Mike about his pills before throwing them away and telling him to stay alert at the job And then we cut to later that day as Mike is trying to get a babysitter for Abby. Max didn't show up, so Mike ended up taking Abby with him to the job, saying that she will rest as he works. Vanessa is also there. Mike makes Abby a fort before he goes to clean up the mess from the people that broke in. And then, after he is done, he falls back asleep and enters his dream once again. But this time the kids doesn't flee, and they say that they know what happened to Mike's brother, but they want something in return. Before leaving, only leaving a drawing of a robotic bunny, and Mike says he'll do anything. Before the sound of Abby screaming wakes him up, he walks out to see the animatronics surrounding Abby, and he thinks they're going to hurt her, but it's revealed that they are not trying to hurt her and is more friendly. Mike finds a drawing of the kidnapping and he goes to confront Abby about it, and she tells him that the kids told her and that they are the one possessing the animatronic suits. They go back the next night and find Vanessa already there. She's staring at a drawing of children with a golden Bonnie suit. Mike confronts her about already knowing about the animatronics, and Vanessa confirms that she did know. Abby goes over there and gives them high fives and hugs them before they throw a party. They end up making a fort. They go to find the roof for the fort when Mike sees a spring-locked animatronic, and he goes to touch it, but Vanessa stops him before showing him what happens when someone tries touching it. They have a little dance party at the animatronic sings before there's a malfunction when Abby touches Bonnie's guitar and gets passed out. Not serious injuries, and Vanessa tells Mike never to bring Abby back there or she will shoot him. Mike calls Aunt Jane to babysit Abby, but she thinks that Mike has given up on her, so she ends up scribbling all of her picture, the not included face anymore. As Mike sleeps, the animatronics offers him a deal, but he soon regrets it, and the animatronics start attacking him when he refuses to give them Abby. Mike wakes up in the same chair that the previous security guard was in, but he notices that a bolt was loosened by the previous security guard and he's able to get out. Mike tries to escape, but Foxy runs at him. Before we cut to Abby and Aunt Jane, as Freddy kills Aunt Jane before taking Abby with him. Mike wakes up with Vanessa and she reveals to him the whole truth and that she's Michael Afton's daughter. She then gives him weapons to defend himself before he goes to try to stop the animatronics and save Abby. He crawls through the vents and he sees Chica with Abby, so he goes and disables Freddy and Bonnie using a taser to electrocute them. And Chica is trying to shove Abby into the spring lock suit, but Mike shows up and electrocutes her as well. But the cupcake tries to stop Mike, and he tells Abby to run as he did with the cupcake, and Foxy's after Abby. But Vanessa shows up and stops Foxy. Mike is able to defeat Cupcake before a Golden Bonnie costume shows up, and he knocks out Mike before it is revealed Steve Raglan, also known as William Afton. He doesn't believe that Vanessa will shoot him, but she does end up shooting him, and he gets angry and he starts choking her, and that's when she reveals that he has to show the animatronics this truth. Abby drawed a new picture and replaces it with the original, and now the animatronics know what William Afton did. So they all turn on them when they remember. Cupcake bites William Afton, and the spring locks of the suit becomes unwind, and they start to crush him. And the animatronics drags them away as Mike and Abby helps Vanessa out there. Before there's a time jump, and we see Abby becoming a normal kid, and Mike has full custody of Abby. But Vanessa's in a coma, but Mike said that he'll be there when she wakes up. And then we see a final scene as William Afton is trapped in the suit, slowly dying before being left to die alone. Now stay tuned for next week's video as we cover Henry Danger, the movie. If you ever wondered what would have happened to Henry Danger after faking his death and moving to dystopia, this movie explores it as we have a multiverse plot tied in. So make sure you come check out the video next week.